Peter Frank. I'm here today with Soheila Siadate, who has created a presentation of her works on various media. The presentation essentially divides Soheila's work into two periods spanning from about 2016 to 2020, and the period since. The work, although it maintains many of the same color considerations, compositional considerations, and textural considerations, is notably different in its basic premise. The earlier work is eruptive, expressionistic, and off-center, you might say. It seeks a focus, meanwhile burning like a forest on fire. Even the sculpture that caps this period is broken and seemingly fragile, although close examination reveals that it is neither. But the work that dates from 2020 until now is markedly different in what it contains and what it depends on in its containment. It's work that relies on Iranian calligraphy and that weaves fields of visual effect and verbal effect, whether or not you can actually read the script, into what seem to be messages of both urgency and reassurance. Soheila, I've just described your work, the contrast between the earlier and the later work. And of course, in the later work, a lot of the paintings and objects don't rely on calligraphy, but they come closer to doing so than this earlier work. And I described the movement towards the calligraphic inclusions and the related work as coming from a position of angst and uncertainty to a position of, I guess you might say, acceptance and insight. Is this what you were actually looking for?
The earlier work is based on my internal world. It's all about me, and some of them are about the stories and memories that I had from the childhood. And I had a kind of harsh and dysfunctional family that I went through, and I really challenging to deal with it for a long time. And so these earlier work, even though they seemed like color and all that, but it was the search inside of myself. Each one of them are based on one story. Any work that I do not even think about what I want, what is the end of the work. I just start, and then afterwards, when I go back to the sit in front of the work, then I realize, what was I thinking? What did I do? And then I go back to the feeling and to the memories that I was thinking.
Would you say then that the newer work is more overtly identified with Iran than the earlier work is? The earlier work is more personal. It's more about
yes.
you.
Yeah.
This is more about Iran itself,
the society.
and your relationship to it?
Yes. Well, when we look at the newer work, I could not get it off of my head, all these young kids that are getting killed every single day, even as we speak right now. And just because of the simplest thing, it's not that they wanted to go and say, be against the system. It's just that they go and they say, where is water? Why we don't have water? This is a rich country. For instance, a girl, she takes the hijab out and the scarf and says, I don't want to be forced hijab. She's in jail for 23 years. That's what I could not even close my eyes and still continue to do what I was doing. So that directed me to this new work of art.
Soheila, can you tell us what some of these inscriptions are?
The names of the young kids that they died in a protest 2.5 years ago in Iran. It's for one guy, for instance, his name is Sattar Beheshti. He was simply, with very simple language, he was asking God, why did you send these people to take over the country? And we are, I see a woman, old woman that is died in the street because of cold, because they didn't have any food, anything like that. So these kind of stories, and he only had 12 plugs. After they took him to jail, 4 days after, they gave the body to her mom. Each one of these are one name, one person. Each one of these are one name. And at the end of this piece, you see it's rolled. It's because if you don't do anything, it's to be continued. As a human, I think we owe it to ourselves to get up and think differently and do something about it. This piece named Circle of Friends. And these are each, again, one name, one person who died in the streets of Iran about 2.5 years ago. Just because they went out and they asked for why the gas price is going high. Very, very peaceful protest. And they got killed. In 3 days, they killed about 1,500 people. I didn't know I used clay for this piece. But then, after I finished, I was like, oh my God, they are now buried in dirt, in clay. So that's why, it was working for me in a way that I had no idea what I was doing. But I knew that I have to write this name. And as we speak, some of these parents, their parents are in jail now because some of them, they went and they asked for, why did you kill my son? He was only 23 years old and all that. And they took the dad, his name is, the kid's name was Puya Bakhtiari. I have him somewhere here, if I can find him. Puya Bakhtiari right here. And his dad ever since been in jail. And they had his mom in jail, and mom got out for a few months after, and then now just they got the mom back in the jail again. So some of these parents being bought, they asked if you talk anything about your son or do any interview with foreigners, foreign publications or anything, we will come and get your other kids. I didn't have much of the name except this that I could get.